Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Weird.
That is fantastic.
Is the sound, excuse me, is the sound okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, because it's just my computer. So Jen's jumping on her. She went to log in and her computer restarted. So
Okay. That's fun.
Bear with us, Wildman, for a minute.
Well, it's a good thing she was late because that gave us a chance to get our situation figured out.
There we go. Yeah. How are you doing?
Good. It's been a wild day, so it's nice to...
Oh, it must be in the air because Jen and I were saying the same thing. We're like, what was today about?
Well, I've got a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Okay.
And my 4-year-old is a walking disaster.
Okay. I have a 4-year-old as well.
Well, he has this little 3-wheeled scooter thing that he drives around. He loves it. It's a lot of fun, but he has a tendency to hit cracks and things.
Sure.
Well, today he hit one and it flipped him over the front of the handlebars.
Shoot.
Yeah, so it looks like he got into a pretty big fight. He's got a big thing on his forehead. His cheeks all messed up. He scratched his glasses. Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. You almost want to laugh a little bit because he's the kind of kid that tries to run away from his pain. So as soon as he fell, he just stood up and started running. He didn't even know where he was going.
He was just hurt. Out of there.
He was just hurt. That's all there is to it. But he's okay now. I'm excited. This is my first time recording with my new audio setup.
Sweet.
So, yeah, I feel like a completely different person now because I was recording on a tiny little Chromebook, like a 13-inch Chromebook. Now I've got this big 30-inch monitor. I've got a dedicated podcast recorder, new microphone.
Nice. You're legit. I love it. Good for you.
I'm legit. I did a little fundraiser and mostly my family came through for me and I was able to record all the stuff.
Very cool. Very cool. So Zach, is podcast what you do full time then, or do you work outside of that?
Well, we moved to Colorado last year and my wife got a job right away and I've been staying home with my kids.
Awesome. So that's an important job.
It is. And it's a much harder job than anything I've ever done.
Absolutely. Yes. I have 3 little wild ones and yes, it is the hardest job. Good for you.
And really the reason I started doing a podcast was basically to have something to engage myself in. It was getting kind of difficult. Just, I don't know how mothers did it back in the old 1800s before they had computers and stuff. So
right. Yeah.
This was just a nice one.
Things are probably a lot simpler back then.
Yeah, I'd say it probably was. What's that in the background? Do you have a smokehouse or something?
So I'm in my humble abode. I'm in my camper right now because I have my 3 kids and my husband's deployed right now, and so I'm like, okay, you guys are in the house. Grandma came over, and I'm in my camper.
Okay.
But it's the back of our barn. We have a wood stove in our barn. I live on a little farm, so
nice.
I'm like, I'll go out to the camper. The only place quiet around this.
I understand. Farm. I'm in the basement. That's the only quiet place in my house too.
Yeah. It's like I just don't even want to deal with. Don't talk. Like I'll remove myself. So.
What part of Montana do you live in?
I'm in Helena, in the capital.
Oh, okay. Did you grow up there?
I did. I was born in California, but I moved here when I was young, so I claim Montana as home. Yeah.
My wife and I went to...
Have you ever been?
Yeah, we went to Glacier. Oh, gosh, it's been longer than I care to admit. But, yes, we went to Glacier. It's probably my favorite place I've ever been. It was just beautiful. We got to see the east side, the west side. We didn't get to go over Going to the Sun Road. It was closed. They had an avalanche that closed off the road in July, which really kind of threw us for a loop.
That's been known to happen. Well, all the a reason to come back because you got to do the Going to the Sun Road. That's the whole That's the whole thing. So
Yeah, and we want
yeah.
to. We just want to wait till our kids are a little bit older to enjoy a trip like that.
Yeah.
To a 4-year-old and
Oh,
a
for sure.
6-year-old, they'd probably be thinking, stuck in the car. This is terrible.
Yeah. Yep.
And plus, in
Yeah.
the past year, moving to
Jen said,
Colorado,
yeah, that's so where did you move from?
we moved from Southern Ohio.
Okay, that's a big move.
Yeah, real big move. So we vacationed here about 10 years ago. And then, I don't know, everything just kind of lined up. And we said, all right, now's our chance. If we're going to get out of Southern Ohio, it's now. So
Yeah.
we pulled the trigger and did it.
Good for you guys. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
No jobs, no family. Just,
Yikes.
yeah, yikes is correct.
The faith, yeah.
I'm
Oh,
generally a
there she
pretty,
is.
I'm generally pretty conservative person. And that was a very scary move.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one.
Jen.
Hi. Oh my gosh. Literally my computer just like restarted. I'm like, what?
That's okay. Yeah, you weren't here for the disaster that was trying to get audio for both of us, so that worked out fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
It's all good.
Perfect.
Technology is great whenever it works. After that,
that is true. It is.
All right. So I already talked to Kelsey just a little bit.
Yeah.
Found out where she's from, when she moved there, all that good stuff. You have a Pennsylvania phone number.
I do.
But you live in Colorado, so I'm going to assume you moved here from Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So I grew up in Pennsylvania, and then I went to college in Connecticut and actually lived there for about 12 years. So I went to school there, lived there for a while, and then moved out to Colorado 3 years ago.
Okay. How you like it?
Yeah. Love it. Best decision. Yeah.
Same here. No, moving from Southern Ohio to here was a good idea for us.
Yeah.
So for both of you, have you always been involved in outdoor activities, hiking, fishing, all that good stuff?
Are we already recording?
Yeah, we've been recording the whole time, Kelsey.
Oh no, I don't want to think of that in there. Just kidding.
Don't worry, I can edit. You're fine.
Okay, I would have given you a much lovelier response.
I know. Are we like in it now? Is this like go time?
Oh yeah, babe. This is go time.
Yeah.
Jen and I are practicing. We're like, okay, so when he has prompts this.
I know.
Okay, sorry. All right.
Who wants to answer first? I don't care. So, who got you involved in the outdoors, Kelsey?
All righty. So I've been involved in the outdoors ever since I was a kid. My parents took us camping as little kids, all throughout my childhood. My dad had us on dirt bikes, basically right out of the womb. We joke that we were born with 2-stroke in our blood, so we were always outdoors. That was nothing unique to our upbringing. So from a child, yeah.
How about you, Jen?
Yeah, same. So, I mean, my family grew up adventuring. My mom was really adventurous, and we always were outdoors. You know, whether it was houseboating, camping, hiking, you know, we had wave runners growing up. We had an awesome trail, like kind of right in our backyard. So we'd ride bikes on that a lot, go for family walks and stuff. So very much similar. Yeah, had a lot of outdoor adventuring experiences growing up as well.
You know, I've noticed with a lot of the women that I've been talking to that are active in the outdoors, it seems like their mothers have been outdoor activists also. Is that the case for you, Kelsey? I know you said your whole family. Jen mentioned her mom specifically.
Yeah, so I would say my mom really connected me with nature. I wouldn't say like she was an outdoor activist by any means. But when we were in nature, I can always like, my mom was the focal point of like, look at the trees, look at the rocks, the moss on the trees was always the thing. So she really connected my brothers and I to like the elements of being in nature, I'd say.
And would you say that your moms maybe are your biggest influence in getting outdoors?
Yeah, I would say both my parents in general, but growing up, it was both of my parents collaboratively, and then into like my late high school years and early adulthood, it's definitely my husband. He is the one who we would load up our dirt bikes every night after work, go fly fishing, camp all the time. And he's the one who really like submerged me, if you will, into the outdoors, taught me basically all I know right now, and really made that further connection for me with the outdoors.
How about you, Jen?
Yeah, I would have to say, in regards to my experiences growing up, my mom, her family grew up very much outdoors. My dad's family was like Philadelphia city boys, so did not have that outdoor. So my parents together, you know, definitely we got outdoors more because my mom introduced a lot of that to my dad. So in regards to those experiences, I would say that it was just kind of part of our everyday life. My mom definitely had the largest influence on that. And looking back, I wouldn't say that it was something intentional that she did. It was more just that this was like our lifestyle. That's just what was part of our everyday lifestyles, our weekdays, our weekends, sports, outdoors activities, stuff like that.
Yeah. Now, moving from Pennsylvania, what's been one of the hardest things to adjust to moving to Colorado?
One of the hardest things,
for me, for example,
yeah,
the altitude is killer. So
that's where I was going to reference.
you know, just taking a real, what I would consider a basic hike. I'm a rather rotund anyway, so getting my big self up a hill is hard enough. Then you throw in you know, a mile of altitude, and I'm dying by the time I get to the top.
Yes, I would have to agree. I mean, initially moving out here, I didn't understand what 1,000 foot of elevation gain meant, like zero concept of that. So in regards to outdoor activities, and the most difficult thing I would say is elevation. Absolutely. I mean, right, you can drive into the mountains and you're starting a hike at 10,000 feet and you came from 5,000 here in Denver. So I think that's a difficult thing for people to grasp until you're out here. I had no concept of that.
Yeah, and Kelsey, you probably don't struggle with that much because you kind of live in the elevation, right?
We do. We live in the elevation. Although where I'm at right now in Helen, I believe it's like 47 or 4,200 feet. So we're not up that high, but that we don't have to go too far to get up in the clouds. So yeah, we're familiar with elevation for sure.
Do either of you have any kind of, I guess what I would consider an outdoor education background? Did you go to school to be a biologist or anything like that?
So I went to school. I'm a physical therapist. I have my doctorate degree in physical therapy. So from the standpoint of like a healthcare profession, that's more what I have. I don't have any necessarily outdoor degrees, but helping people ultimately is like my biggest passion, which is why I got into physical therapy. So I would say that that translates very much so into Wild Women right now.
Yeah, and I don't have specifically an outdoor education, but I am certified as an integrative health coach. And so through my practice with health coaching and just natural to my passion is bringing out what women are capable of and what they can do. And I found that for myself, that I figured out what I was capable of and what I could do and what I could conquer happened in the outdoors for me over and over again. And so that just translated into my health coaching practice and ultimately into Wild Women, which we'll share more about in a minute.
Might as well go and start talking about it. So Kelsey, you're the one that started Wild Women, right?
I am, yes. I founded Wild Women 2 years ago.
And what made you decide to go ahead and start that organization?
Yeah, it was in my health coaching practice. I had a little practice downtown and I was meeting with women specifically. And I continued to see this pattern of women coming in a variety of ages. And they were really lacking meaningful friendships. They were lacking connection with the outdoors. I found myself sitting across from a client and saying, well, what if you went for a walk? Or what if you just went outside for a few minutes? Or what if you went for a hike? And it kind of, felt sticky for me because I'm like, why don't we just do that together? In my own personal journey and my own personal healing, I found that connection to the outdoors was vital for me. It was what helped me get through hard times. And so it was just one of those tugs on your heart, and an idea that popped into my head that was like, what, it'd be really cool if I could get 10 to 15 women, maybe just 10 to 15 of my clients together, and we could go for hikes. We could do some meditation and do these kind of things together as a group. So I threw a name on it. I called it Wild Women Outdoors, and I put it on Facebook because, you know, it's unofficial until it's on Facebook. And I said, hey friends, I'm going to do this, and just kind of crossed my fingers that 10, 15 women, maybe actually just even one woman, thought that was a good idea and wanted to join me. So that I really didn't get much feedback off of that post. It was vulnerable to do that, but that tug never went away. So I just kept following it, and I just kept evolving it, and kind of true to my nature, I was like, well, we're going to make this official, and we're going to go all the way, and whatever happens, happens. And so here we are. We definitely have more than 10 or 15 women. We have 10 or 15 women per adventure minimum that join us. So I think I still sit back in awe of how this started. It just was a tug on my heart.
Do you know how many women are in the organization altogether?
Members, we have well over 150 probably members, and but we adventure, we provide two different options. So we adventure with what we call members and non-members. Just our summer, we adventured with over 300 women amongst all of our locations.
That's great.
Yeah, so more than that 10 or 15 that I was hoping for.
So since you both have degrees in, I guess, or backgrounds in health, is there any specific research into how using nature, hiking, things like that can help physical and mental health?
Yeah,
Jen?
for sure. I mean, in regards to allowing people an outlet, I think that the outdoors, there's many articles. I don't have all that like right in front of me to give to you as references, but there definitely is a lot of resources out there for women and in general, just humans, us as a culture, to get outdoors as a outlet to many things going on in our everyday world right now, whether it's, you know, people needing some relief mentally, emotionally, and then obviously helping provide some physical abilities as well, just getting out there and hiking, walking, running, whatever those avenues are that, you know, resonate with people.
Yeah, and I would add to that and say, just with the mental health component of the benefits of being in nature. I mean, breathing in oxygen, giving our brains and our lungs oxygen is so important. Exercising, releasing those endorphins, and just taking in those qualities, I guess that you could say that nature gives us, it is huge, and it is an asset, and it is something that we talk a lot about, is the mental health component to being in nature.
I just think it's interesting that big pharma is always so quick to push out medications for even the most minor of symptoms, and it seems like you were saying, if you just go out, breathe a little bit, take a nice long hike, you can alleviate a lot of those symptoms, and the only side effect you get is some exercise.
Absolutely. You know, I always say I'm a much happier human when I'm in the mountains. And it's so true. I can be so cranky, or, you know, it'd be hard morning with the kids or whatever. And if I can just get myself to the trailhead, or just get myself to throw some shoes on and walk down my road, it doesn't have to be even a drive. If I just step outside my door and change my scenery and get my heart pumping a little bit, my whole perspective changes, and it just does the body and the mind good.
Especially living in the hustle and bustle of a city like Denver. I try to avoid that place like the plague.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So I live on the outskirts of Denver. So I can't relate specifically to the concrete jungle there, but I would say that, yeah, the Front Range, you know, many people utilize the mountains as an outlet, hence traffic on 70. It's case in point right there.
No.
So I think that many people flock to Colorado for the reason of having the mountains and all of the accessibility to the outdoors, 100%.
That was the biggest shock to me moving from Ohio, just the amount of public land that you can utilize. Where we grew up, we had a couple of pretty nice national forests, but nothing like this. I can look out my back door and see Long's Peak. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that like I thought I was adventuring, not that I'm not. I'm not taking away from like what people do in other states, but having experienced outdoor activities from Pennsylvania to Connecticut to Colorado, other than like the gratitude you have for being out in nature, it is kind of a night and day concept.
Oh yeah. My family's really big on the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee, and they just think that's the greatest thing. Those are the best mountains in the world. And they came out to visit me earlier this spring, and I took them to Rocky Mountain National Park when there was snow on the ground. I mean, it was gorgeous up there. And we were just driving along, and all I heard was, ooh, ah, wow. So I turned around and I said, how about those Smokies now, huh? Yeah, you're right. These are mountains.
Yeah, yes.
Kelsey, back to Wild Women. When did you ever have any plans on expanding it beyond Montana originally? And I'm going to lead up to how Jen got involved.
Yeah. So, and I'm just going to backtrack if you don't mind to like the original motivation and goals. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Hop into that. Yeah. I'll just say that the original motivation was in that creating that space for those clients that I was seeing to have a place to exercise together and to come together and have that, what we call our mind, body, soul connection. But really, if I'm being honest, it was a place that I created it for a place that I needed. I was at a place, even as a health coach, that I needed an outlet. I needed a space to go to where I could just show up and I could be myself and be loved for that and be cherished for that and celebrated and grow. I think there's a lot of places and spaces and things that we can go and be a part of, but we think we have to already be an expert in, or we have to be somebody else to be there. And for me, I just needed that place that I could already be myself, and that was enough. And so that's kind of where the original motivation came from. And I would say the goals, they've definitely shifted from day one in the hopes of having just 1 or 2 or 10 or 15 women join, to where I quickly realized that this was a need that I shared with a lot of other women. It wasn't only my need for needing that safe space, if you will, to adventure. And so then the thought came, well, what if we could have more locations in Montana? So we started to pursue that. And then the idea came, what if this was everywhere? What if we were in, multiple states across the US? And so I guess the vision for it has evolved from day one.
And Jen, what led you to get involved with Wild Women Outdoors?
So I was looking to start something of this on my own. I had like a vision like Kelsey, and I had many friends and people say to me, Jen, like, I want to do what you do. How do you do that? How do I get started? I don't hike. Where do I begin? And so that sparked that creative thought in my head. And with that, I started researching actually like how to get involved in the outdoors. I was like, I need to do more than just be someone that hikes, or I wanted to do more, right? I wanted to have a little more education, some background and things. And with that, I actually stumbled across Wild Women Outdoors on Instagram. I ended up reaching out to Kelsey and was like, what does this ambassador program look like? Do you have any interest in coming to Colorado? I really didn't know like the extent that it would lead us to now bringing an entire chapter of Wild Women to Colorado. But with that, it's just been like an amazing collaborative effort between Kelsey and I, and just helping lead women into the outdoors through like that mind, body, soul connection that Wild Women, really is all about.
So how successful have you been at, I guess, I don't want to say recruiting, but getting other women to join you on some of your outdoor adventures here?
So I think to start it off, being everything happening with COVID-19, we definitely ran into a few speed bumps. So we were planning to launch launch Wild Women Outdoors Colorado around like March, and that's when the pandemic hit, and obviously that was not going to happen. And so we kind of went back to the drawing board and looked about, how are we going to do this? So we ended up doing a free month launch, just allowing people to come and adventure. And I truly, truly believe that COVID allowed the growth of Wild Women Outdoors Colorado to like just exponentially skyrocket. Women came out of quarantine, and everybody was looking for something like this, whether it was, them recognizing that they wanted to be part of a community, whether they wanted more people to adventure with, whether they just wanted to start to adventure. So it has been hugely successful, and it's all been organically. We have done no like paid advertisements. It has all been through word of mouth and through our just social media accounts, Instagram, Facebook, and meetup group here in Colorado.
That's great. But it seems like a place like this is conducive to a group like Wild Women Outdoors. When I think back to, Ohio, I'm not really sure a group like this could get off the ground because there's not that many adventurous, it seems like there isn't that many adventurous women back east, I guess. I don't know how you feel about it, but.
Yeah, so in regards to having a non-adventurous state, as if that's what you want to call it, versus something like Colorado, where there are so many of these groups, the thing that separates Wild Women from all of this is that we're not just a hiking group, we're not just a yoga group, we're not just a group that does meditation. We really bring all of that together into this one magnifying experience that we're calling Wild Women Outdoors. And so one of the most difficult things in Colorado is that there's all of these groups, and one of the best things is that there's all of these groups. But from my knowledge and from the feedback of many other women, this type of a group does not exist. And so that is the largest pull onto Wild Women being successful and the potential to be successful in other areas that adventure, as we're labeling it or defining it, may not be as prevalent as somewhere like here in Colorado or Montana.
And Kelsey, when you first started Wild Women Outdoors, was that kind of the vision you had? What Jen was just explaining, this like whole concept of healing?
Absolutely. I'm smiling ear to ear listening to her say that, because I think one of the coolest things is to have that vision. I mean, that's unique to me, unique to my idea, and that tug on my heart. But to share that with someone like Jen, she was like, yep, I get this, I see this, and we've cultivated this culture. I actually went to Colorado for their whitewater rafting trip back in July, and showing up to that group and seeing what was just basically a mirrored image of our groups here in Montana. That culture just translated from Montana to Colorado. And by that point, we had only known each other like this through Zoom and over the phone. We hadn't even known each other in person. And so to share in that vision is so cool, because that was the heart of it from day one. It was never, let's just start a hiking group, let's go do some adventures. It was this whole, like Jen said, magnified experience that we can give women, because as an integrative health coach and in my practice, it's how do we incorporate all these things into our everyday life? And so I knew that there had to be something just beyond adventuring. So yeah, that was day one. That was where it started.
So do the trips have any kind of structure or organization in terms of what your plan is, what you want to work on?
Yeah. Yep, they're all organized. So we have, we get out and we adventure. So we hike and we do what we call our outside of the box adventures, which might be like our whitewater rafting trip or a backpacking trip, things along those nature. And then we incorporate our wellness classes into that. So it might be a talk with a naturopath, or like Jen is hosting a sound bowl meditation healing class this month. So more holistic classes, and we intertwine those together. And then they are structured. We do all of the planning for that. We do all of the organizing. I always use this phrase, we consider ourselves everyday learners. we might be more experienced in some areas than other areas, but we learn every day along with these women. And so things like our ice fishing and our fly fishing and those types of things, we bring in the experts, we connect with different guides and experts in those fields, and we bring them in. But ultimately our goal is to provide a well-rounded and well-planned experience for all of our wild women.
Jen, when you're doing these kind of holistic meditation type events, do you give any of the people any kind of like recommended reading or anything to kind of help get them into the mind space of doing those events?
Yeah, so initially, when we were planning out these events, just to briefly backtrack, we definitely collaborate with the experts in that area. So we're not coming out and I'm not leading the meditation, but I'm connecting with another organization group teacher that is going to lead that. So we utilize them as a resource to help provide women that are attending these events with those types of structured outlines. So we give them an adventure email that states, what they're encouraged to bring, a packing list, whether there's specific articles or things that they may want to read prior to attending, something like that. Our, descriptions are pretty detailed on what the event entails. In addition, we also always try to incorporate that mind, body, soul connection. So with our events, we're really focusing on that whole concept throughout that adventure. So during our hikes, we may stop, like for our full moon hikes, we have a group meditation at like the overlook or the summit. We try to incorporate that approach with all of our activities and provide like a safe space for women.
Do both of you have a favorite trip or a favorite activity that you like to take your groups out on, something that maybe helps people the most or what they look forward to doing again the most? Kelsey?
Yeah, I'd say for us, it is hiking, which seems so simple because we can all do that, but there's something about coming together and having that group experience just amplify the hiking experience. And whether we're going on a excuse me, whether we're going on a relatively easy trail or we're summiting a big mountain, I think there's always opportunity for the feeling of accomplishment, and to see women feel that and share that with other women is just the coolest thing for me. So I would say by far mine is hiking. There's nothing like meeting 10 women at a trailhead and heading out into the mountains.
Jen, how about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to tag on that one as well. Hiking, but I would say I like adding the twist of it into adding a different perspective. So like when we did a sunrise hike, that by far was our most memorable, or my most memorable adventure when I was leading these women. Most of them, I asked the question prior to taking off for the trail. I said, are you a sunrise or a sunset? And everyone's like, yeah, definitely sunset. And here they all are at a trailhead at 5 a.m. getting ready to hike up to be able to view a sunrise. And at the end of the day, like everybody that came down was just so grateful that they woke up that early and witnessed, a sunrise. It was amazing coming over the Front Range. So most favorite is hiking, but I love adding that little twist to it.
Yeah, the sunrises are definitely what I live for.
Me too.
I took my bow out for a few hikes through mule deer season, and I was in the woods at like 3:30 in the morning, and it was always nice to stop and just kind of appreciate the sun peeking over. That was always my favorite part. I saw lots of deer, didn't get to shoot anything, but I saw plenty of sunrises.
Yes.
So with an all women's group, Kelsey, why do you feel that it's important to have groups like that for women to participate in?
Yeah, I think it goes back to having that place that's comfortable, and I guess, if you will, a safe place for women to show up to adventure. I think that there's something that's maybe I want to just assume here, but within all of us, it's hard to be a beginner at something. It's hard to admit that we're a beginner at something. It's hard to show up and say, I've never done this before. We all kind of want to have had experience in something. So to have a group where all women can come and adventure together, and they can be a beginner, or they can be an intermediate, or they can be more experienced in something, I think is really unique to the benefit of having a group. And then I also think that having that place where we leave the comparison at the doorstep, if you will, or at the car, having a place where you can just show up and you can submerge yourself into a really positive environment, I think is a huge aspect of it as well.
Jen, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I just want to add that my most favorite aspect of Wild Women Outdoors is the range of adventure levels that we have. We are inclusive to everybody, and we make sure that those adventures and events are geared towards everybody. You're going to have somebody that maybe is hiking 14ers here in Colorado, but they don't have anybody to do it with, and they want to have somebody that they can like trust, feel safe with out on the trail. And then you have somebody who maybe has never hiked before, and they don't have a hiking backpack or something. And so we just provide that space to meet at the level that you're at.
And do you find that women join groups such as yours to learn new skills, meet new friends? What's the motivating force behind women joining groups like this?
I would say all the above to what you just said. The feedback that I've received, and also the reason to why I've even attended certain meetup groups myself, or have attended other events or adventures, is for that reason, to find that like-minded community and bring people together. One of the most important factors that Kelsey and I have talked about is if we have one woman come and she is, able to connect with one other person. And if those two never come to another Wild Woman adventure again, but they're able to then go adventure themselves and feel safe and confident to do so, that is like the best thing that could have ever come from Wild Women Outdoors.
Then we did our job. Yes.
Yeah.
That's nice. It's not the goal isn't to just keep members. The goal is to create a positive atmosphere for people to feel safe, and maybe they'll go out on their own.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Go ahead, Kelsey.
Sorry, Jen. Absolutely. The whole goal is empowering women and showing them what they're capable of. I mean, yeah, I got off track there, Jen. So go ahead.
Just to add that, I think that many people would argue that the outdoor industry has mostly been like male dominant, and that is definitely starting to turn over and change. Many women can be intimidated to get outdoors. Like, where do you start? What do you do? And so Wild Women Outdoors offers that like avenue to start. Just to echo what Kelsey said, like, we're all a beginner at some point, whether that was 5 years ago or 5 minutes ago. But once you've accomplished that task, once you've accomplished that event or that adventure, that hike, you can then say you've done it before and be able to do it, hopefully with more confidence. That's ultimately the goal of Wild Women Outdoors.
That's interesting, because I was talking to a young lady that's starting her own, I guess you can call it an outdoor education program. And one of the things that she was talking about was, I guess, the intimidation factor and the lack of understanding factor when a man is explaining or trying to just tell a woman what to do outdoors. In her instance, she was fly fishing. And she said when she would go into a fly shop, a guy would just say, here, just buy this, without explaining anything to her, without trying to guide her into making her own decisions. Do you feel that women sometimes get turned off by that, and that dissuades them from doing outdoor activities?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it can be intimidating to not have to not just have that female presence. And as we just see this happening in our world today, that is definitely changing, and it's changing drastically and quickly. Women are definitely more empowered, but sometimes people just need that extra push, and that's what this group ultimately is about, is just giving them that extra push to do that. Even with our collaborative efforts with partnering during some of our events, you know, we're not exclusively just trying to partner with our women counterparts as far as different events go, but with that there is also a sense of a sense of women being more comfortable being surrounded by other women.
Kelsey, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, sorry, Jen. No, I was just going to say that there's definitely a comfort level that comes with it, just knowing that there's only women there, that there's women, whether they're instructing or adventuring with, there's a comfort level of having it be an all women's group. And to go back to like the purpose of meeting in a group like this, we use the tagline that we believe that when women come together and they're empowered and encouraged, that they can go out into the world as a healthier and happier version of themselves. And I think that really like sums up like our whole reason for being, is to bring women together, empower them, encourage them. We say that we exist to connect women with the earth, each other, and themselves. And that's truly the whole reason why we're here.
Yeah, and that's, you know, taking time out for yourself is very important. I know, you know, with, I guess, the stereotype, you know, a woman may be the caregiver, take care of their children all the time, put themselves last most of the time. And to do something like this, where you take a moment for yourself, like you said, can make you a better version of yourself.
Absolutely. And just honoring that it's important as women that we do take care of ourselves, because we by nature are givers and caretakers on many fronts. And so honoring that we need to take care of ourselves is very valuable and important.
Well, I can sympathize. I've been a stay-at-home dad for a year, and boy, let me tell you, I was bald before, but I've gained some gray hairs in my beard because of staying home with the kids all the time.
Yes.
And it seems kind of greedy at first, because you feel bad leaving your kids at home and going out by yourself. But I got over that real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, do you struggle with that, Kelsey, leaving your kids behind?
Yeah, you know, I think that I have 3 kids. They're 10, 8, and 4. And you know, as they get older, they're able to like better understand, you know, or they have their own, grandma's house is exciting. And so it's not as hard as it used to be. But I've really learned the value of taking care of myself, and I really can't show up as a present mom and really a good, you know, the best version of myself unless I'm taking that time away. And so we've learned to kind of find a healthy balance that works for us, as far as mom taking time and then mom being present. So yeah, takes a lot of work, but I buy into the whole model of sustainable happiness, and I really believe to have that sustainable happiness, there has to be some balance within that. And so if that looks like me dropping the kids off at grandma's house just to go for a hike, then that's what happens, and we're all better because of it afterwards. So,
and especially since both of you have you know, pretty robust educational backgrounds and careers, that just kind of adds another layer to the responsibility that you feel. I'm just a bum stay-at-home dad. I don't do anything.
for sure. Oh no, hardly, not even. No, you know, this last year, my husband's actually, he's been deployed for the past year, and really finding the value in that all the more. That it's no matter where you're at in your life, whether you're with kids, without kids, you know, empty nesters, wherever you're at in your life, the bottom line is we have to take care of ourselves. We're better humans when we do.
I was just going to say that, Kelsey. I was going to say that we show up better for everybody else that is around us when we engage in self-care. And really that's what it comes down to.
Absolutely.
the breakdown of the group, I guess, characteristics, do you find that it's mostly younger people, older people, empty nesters, or is it a healthy mix of all the above? Jen.
I think that's one of, oh, go for it.
Yeah, that's one of our favorite qualities with Wild Women Outdoors. And we do frequently get emails and questions and people asking like, oh, I'm, this age, will this work for me? Because we put in there all adventure levels welcome in addition to just being 18 and plus for registration purposes. And that was actually something I just stated to our members meetup group, that's my most favorite thing about our Colorado chapter is that we have people that are, late 20s, early 30s. And then we have women that are 65 to 75. And we are able to, the younger generation, if you will, are able to learn and grow. And the more seasoned adventure wild women, they're able to provide some insight to the women that are showing up with, different emotional things and different situations that are going on in life. And it's just been amazing to see women come up and be so open and transparent and be able to connect that way.
Okay, Kelsey, you're up.
I'll piggyback off of Jen and that I love that we have a diverse age range. My mom lives here with me in town and she's on every adventure. We've kind of dubbed her as the token wild woman mom. And we just had our full moon hike the other night and there was 15 ladies at the trailhead and my mom pulls in and like, oh, there's your mom. And she's kind of just became our wild woman mom here. But she has a lot of her peers. So, she's in her 60s. And so having her peers there is so cool. It's so cool to see that. But yet I'm in my 30s and I have my peers there as well, and everything in between. And so being a new wild woman showing up to a group, it's so awesome to see like that new woman showing up can fit into any category there because we do range from, like Jen said, the 20s to 75 and on up. So I hold dearly that we are not just young or old or middle-aged. We're all over the board because I think that's awesome.
And that's good that you promote that you can cover all the age ranges, because I feel like sometimes the older population can feel disenfranchised, especially when you look at social media. You look at Instagram or Facebook and there's all these bikini clad people up on the mountaintops taking pictures. It can be kind of detrimental, I would think, to encouraging new people to get out there.
Yeah, and I think that to the whole bikini mountaintop picture thing and being transparent, there was a lady who I met at a trailhead, or she came to an adventure rather, and she showed up and we asked her how she found out about Wild Women Outdoors, and it was social media. And she said I was scrolling through and she hadn't been out. She was a beginner really to the outdoors, and she said that she saw in the feed that there was women like her in there, and so I gave her, if you will, the permission or the comfort level to come and join us because she resonated with a real human being from our Wild Women group who looked like, or maybe it was the description that resonated with her to have her come and show up there. So yeah. And I think that there's a dynamic when you have the variety of age group that everyone can learn from everybody. The younger can learn from the older and vice versa. And having that wide range really provides a unique opportunity to grow and to learn from each other. The young keep the older younger, and the old keep the younger wiser, if you will. Provide wisdom.
So I guess moving forward with the future of Wild Women Outdoors, Kelsey, where do you see it heading? Do you see more ambassadors like Jen popping up across the United States?
Absolutely. We're just in a moment of rapid growth, which is amazing. Clearly the the tug that Jen had and the tug that I had isn't unique to us. And so we're experiencing that rapid growth, but we're also kind of positioning ourselves for the future and for what that looks like. And we definitely see Wild Women chapters all across the US.
Jen, how do you plan on growing Wild Women, the Colorado chapter? What's your plan?
Yeah, so right now we are able to allow, well, let me, I guess, rephrase that. So we're able to allow people who are interested in becoming ambassadors to contact us. And with that, we will definitely need to have co-ambassadors, even just in this Front Range area, just because of the growth. We need to be able to provide that quality experience to the women that we have right now and serve them appropriately and offer them, the continued adventures and wellness hubs and everything like that, in addition to expanding into other mountain towns. That's ultimately the goal. So yes, we call ourselves Wild Women Outdoors Colorado here, and this might be like the hub, home base, but the goal is to continue to reach out to other mountain towns here in Colorado.
And what is the best way to get in touch with Wild Women Outdoors, look at the ambassador program, and look at all the trips?
Yeah, so the best way is to jump on our website, which is www.wildwomenoutdoors.com. And with that, there is an ambassador tab, and you can learn more about our ambassador program and what that entails. We strategically plan, bringing on ambassadors. And with that, we just want to make sure it's the right fit for everybody and the right fit for even the geographical location.
And Kelsey, on the website, are there breakdowns of the various trip types, whether it's hiking or meditating or anything like that?
Yeah, so if you head over to our website, you can click on our adventure tab and it'll bring you up, and you can select if you're adventuring in Montana or Colorado. And all of our adventures are right there at your fingertips.
And what's your Instagram account? Is it Wild Women Outdoors?
Wild Women Outdoors, then we have Wild Women Outdoors Colorado.
Okay. Same thing with Facebook, I assume?
Same thing with Facebook, yep, you got it.
Gotta love that consistency.
Yes.
Kelsey, Jen, do either of you have any kind of final thoughts or comments, something you'd like to say to women that may be interested in going outside?
Yeah, so we just want to say that we welcome you with open arms, whether, like we said, if you're somebody who is an experienced adventurer or experienced in hiking, 14ers, whatever it is, but you just want to connect with like-minded women that you may be able to partner with and do those things outside of this group, then this is for you. If you're someone who is never hiked before and you maybe are scrolling through Instagram and something, you feel that tug and you say, you know what, I want to be able to do that. I don't know how to start. I don't know who to contact. Come to one of our adventures. We would love to bring you into our group and hopefully help empower and inspire you to be able to do those things on your own and with our group.
Kelsey, anything to add?
Absolutely. I'll speak to the moms out there, and just going off of that, that self-care is really important. Sometimes we don't even know how to provide self-care. So I just encourage, finding, whether it's Wild Women Outdoors or some type of an outlet, to get outside in nature and connect with other people. You'll be pleasantly surprised at how it benefits you. So we welcome everyone with open arms, and we'd love to adventure with all sorts of women.
Great. Kelsey, Jen, thanks for agreeing to do a live stream podcast with me. I appreciate it. Not live stream, video.
Thanks, Zach. Yeah, this is such a great opportunity. We appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Yep, you guys have an open invitation. Anytime you ever want to come back, just get in touch with me.
All right.
Great.
Thanks, Zach.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yes. Take care.
Yep.